What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Just Us Show. I am Vaughn.
What's going on? This is Woody over here.
And this is Aaron.
So, Woody, what's going on topic today? What are we going to talk about?
Well, we got a couple things to go over tonight, man. This is going to be real NBA heavy tonight. I know Monday we were speaking on a lot of NFL subjects. But first thing first, I know there's been a lot of talk right now. Warriors still undefeated. I even heard today, I was watching Sports Nation, and they asked if the Warriors were the best team ever. What do y'all think about that? Do you think this Warriors team could be considered the best team ever?
Go ahead, Aaron. I'll let you hit that up.
Absolutely not. There's no way that team could ever be one of the greatest. And the reason being is the league has changed so much that I don't think they would be able to hang with the greatest teams back in the 90s or early 80s, late 80s. I don't believe they are.
It's kind of like how Charles Barkley always refers to, a jump shooting team can't win.
Right.
And I see where he's coming from. And during his era, a jump shooting team wouldn't have won anything.
Right.
Because the game was too physical. It was played in the post. It was played down low in the paint. It was played with the bigs. So guards didn't really have, I wouldn't say, well, they had influence on the game, but from a assist standpoint or setting their guys up or maybe shooting outside shots, but the perimeter game wasn't as big as it is now.
Yeah, me personally, man. I know everybody likes to compare this Warriors team to the Bulls team. The Bulls team in the mid '90s. You know, when they won what 71 games, 72 games,
72 and 10.
Yeah, 72 and 10, and people like to compare them to them. And once again, it's that comparison to Michael Jordan. And to me, I think they've skipped some steps when they've come to that part. I mean, first of all, I don't think you can even go back to that far. Would this Warriors team that won last year, would they even beat that Miami Heat team from a few years ago? Would they even beat that Spurs team from a few years ago? Me personally, I think one team that would personally destroy this Golden State Warriors team is that Lakers team from the early 2000s. I mean, when they went 3 in a row, I don't think this Warriors team could even handle them. So I wouldn't even go back to Chicago, man. I would stop there, in this decade and beyond. Quality. Yeah, so for me, I wouldn't even go back that far and compare them to that team that won 72 games, because like I said, I think that's the pinnacle that you would compare a team to right now. I think there's a lot of teams that would beat this Golden State Warriors team. That's just my opinion. It sounds like you guys are pretty much on the same page.
Yeah, not only the style that they played, but I think even refereeing, man. I think they let people actually play in the 90s, 80s, even early 2000s.
You could get away with playing physical back then.
Yeah, you can grab,
bump.
Well,
there's a lot of different NBA rule changes up to this point. The NBA has really made a concerted effort in the early 2000s and late 90s to get the game more opened up.
Speed it up.
Right. So a lot of stuff was taken out of the game.
Friendly.
Right. Exactly. Like the hand checking, you couldn't do that. You can't hand check and grab Steph Curry. I mean, so when you see him putting guys on skates on a nightly basis, I mean, yeah, as a fan, it's fun to watch to see a guy fall on the ground, get their ankles broke, but you can't stay on him. You have to back up off him. So that's going to happen if you're really watching all his cuts. He's likely to put somebody on the ground. Plus, like just the overall physicality of the game is not there. And it seems like Steph Curry, I mean, he's been fortunate enough to stay healthy. But his first couple seasons, I mean, it's not like Steph's been in the league 1 or 2 years. He's been in, I think this is either going on his 6th or 7th season in the league. And the thing that really hurt him his first couple years in the league was his ankles. Everybody said he was fragile and was twisting his ankles and tearing up his ankles, and he was out a lot of times because of that. So just showing that, just naturally, that physicality of the league back in the day, this team, and like I said, these Warriors are a couple injuries away from possibly losing 20 games in a row. That's just my take on that.
Well, I mean, I don't know about losing 20 in a row. I mean, they are pretty deep if you look at their bench and their starting lineup. So I think that they can get away with a few injuries, as long as it's not to key people like Steph.
Well, Klay Thompson is injured now.
But he still had a 39-point game last night.
Right, but he's injured. That's the thing. He's hurt. Well, I don't know if he's injured. I know he's hurt. I don't know if he's going to miss a few games.
He might be day-to-day, but I think he's just nicked up. I don't think he's that bad off to where he couldn't play if they had to play him.
All right, well, we'll see. I haven't heard anything latest coming up with him, but I do know they were talking about how he's hurting now. So, like I said, I think if you have injuries to him and Steph, if he's one ankle roll away from messing up his season, we can see this team falling back to the pack right now. that's just one thing I want to talk to you guys about with this Warriors team. Another thing I want to talk about, I do have some beef with some Warriors fans, and I just want to, if you guys would allow me to
go ahead. The floor is yours. The mic is yours.
I appreciate that. Those that may not know, I'm definitely I'm an avid Laker fan, and when I'm not talking sports, I'm watching sports, or I'm reading something about sports or what have you. And to me, it's amazing. I go on Twitter, I go on these blogs or whatever, and I'm looking up stuff for my Lakers. We're struggling right now, and I'm looking for any silver lining I can find. And it seems like it's being infiltrated by a lot of these Warriors fans and talking a lot of mess. I give all respect to the Warriors. They're the defending champions. I mean, they're killing it right now, so I give them their respect. But it's kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of beneath them to be on my Lakers blogs and everything, talking about how bad the Lakers are. It's easy to pick on us while we down. We'll be back one day. But this is the thing about it. I don't know about you guys, but I've never met a true diehard Warrior fan, and maybe it's been where I've been. But I've never met a Warrior fan before they won this title. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when they started winning and stuff, I've seen some people who said they like them, but everybody that I know that's been from the Oakland area or the Bay Area, they've been Laker fans or something else.
I'll piggyback on that. I was stationed in Northern California, maybe 20 minutes from the Bay Area, and even when I was there in 2012, 2011, I hardly saw. As a matter of fact, I don't think I saw anybody wearing any Golden State Warriors anything.
Right.
And I'm 20 minutes from San Francisco and Oakland.
Right.
Nobody was wearing any of that. Maybe the Niners, Raiders, yeah. But the Warriors, no.
Right.
Didn't see not one single solitary Warriors fan unless they were going to the game. But just talking to people in day-to-day conversation, nobody was a Warriors fan.
Right. And once again, I got love for Oakland. I got love for San Francisco. I got love for the Bay Area in general. But one thing I'm saying, there's a lot of these guys, and it's mainly the guys that are from Oakland. The guys and girls that are from Oakland. And they're talking, like they're big Warriors fans. And like I said, every person I know from Oakland is a Laker fan. Is a Raider fan and a Laker fan. Some are Niners fan, but I didn't know any Warriors fans. But it's kind of crazy to me. And some of the stuff that we were going back and forth, and some of the guys, one guy on there was telling me something about I know it says the Golden State Warriors, but it's really the Oakland Warriors because the stadium is in Oakland and this and that. And I was like, I understand. I understand. I get that. But originally. And this is the thing about me. Y'all know me. I do my homework and a lot of stuff, man. So it's not when you come to me, you got to come with your facts. So the dude, I was going back and forth with the guy. This dude didn't even know they came from Philadelphia. And then when they came from Philadelphia, they came to the Bay Area as the San Francisco Warriors, not the Golden State Warriors. They changed to the Golden State Warriors a couple years after they were actually in the Bay Area. And the stadium that they used to play in was in San Francisco. Now it's in Oakland, which is, it's Oracle Arena, which is right next to where the Raiders play. Right, and like I said, I got all these Oakland Warriors fans, but I don't know if they know, but in a couple years, I think it's 2016, 2017, they're supposed to be playing in their new stadium, which is in San Francisco. So when they go back to San Francisco, since you say the Warriors are Oakland's team, when they go to San Francisco, are they going to be San Francisco's team? And then what happens to the Oakland Warriors fans? That's just what I'm saying, so. Maybe y'all can go back to being Laker fans. Hopefully we'll get it together by then. But I'm just saying, that's the one thing I had to do. I had to address that with my Warriors fans. I mean, I love y'all. I love the passion and everything. But I'm just saying, be true to your team. If you're really a Warriors fan, be a Warriors fan in 30 years from now, not just now when they win. I mean, because it's been 40 years in between y'all championships. I'm not even 40 years old. I don't know when the Warriors won the first one. But
I don't know. Was Chris Mullin on that team?
Well, when they won, that was back where Rick Barry and all that was
way back there.
So yeah, like I said, that was before I was even born. But here's the deal. And I'll take that as a Laker fan. I'll take that. Warriors in 40 years, y'all win 2 rings, and in 40 years, my Lakers will win 10. Look it up. That's the facts. 10 rings to 2. So that's what I'm saying. I know most people from Oakland are actually Laker fans. I'm just saying. So I just want to throw that out there. I'm gonna get off my high horse. Because it's a positive show. And speaking and staying on that subject. Steph Curry, I love Steph. Right now, he's getting a lot of pub and everything, which is rightfully so. And the one thing I want to say is, this is probably one of the first people that the NBA, in my opinion, has gotten right when they're now following Steph and they're now giving Steph all the love. Because unlike LeBron James, I think with Steph, You see Steph all over the screen and everything now, and all over the interviews, everybody's talking about him. But the NBA did it the right way. They waited until he was a champion before they gave him all the love, unlike they were doing with LeBron and some of the other guys from back in the day. And I think that's where a lot of the resentment came from for some of those guys is the fact that they were crowned before they were even on the throne. So what do you guys think about that? Like I said, I think I give the Warriors and I give Steph Curry and Clay and all them, I give them all their props, man, because they doing it right now. They're killing the league, so I do give them those props. But I think they did it the right way after you win the ring. That's just what I think. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I think he grew into his success. He grew into where he's at right now. I think he's shown that his game has improved every year. Every year he's gotten better and better and better. So the attention he's getting now, the praise he's getting now, I think he deserves it.
Definitely. And what do you basically second that too? Yeah,
I second that. Yeah.
I mean, he's exciting to watch. I mean, who doesn't like seeing him pull up and hit a three with a guy right there in front?
Oh yeah,
half court.
Oh yeah. I mean, the way the Warriors are playing right now, man. They're doing a good service to the league and to the young players growing up and watching the way they play. And realizing that it's still playing solid defense, even though they're not the best defensive team, but playing solid defense and learning how to shoot and learning how to hit free throws and stuff like that. That's the way. That's what a true basketball player. That's the essence of a true basketball player. Because not everybody's gonna be big and overpowering like a Shaq or like a LeBron James. Those guys are special. Those are freaks of nature. So not everybody can beat them. So we need to start having guys come out trying to learn the basics of basketball before they get elevated to a superstar. So I think it's a great thing the way they're doing it.
I got one little quick question to ask you though. Who would you take if you had to start, if you wanted to build, or I'm just going to say, who would you pick would have the best handles between Steph or Kyrie Irving?
Out of Steph and Kyrie, well, here's the deal, man. Steph Curry probably has the best handles right now. He probably is the best point guard in the game, best controlling the ball, but Kyrie Irving, I mean, we kind of forget about him because he's been injured for a while. So we kind of forgot the way he played against Steph Curry. I mean, think about it. He played Steph Curry in the finals pretty much on one leg, and in that first game, he was shutting him down. And when it came to it at the end of the game, he blocked him. I mean, Kyrie was staying with the guy. So you never know. You never know how Kyrie's going to come back. But right now, I would pick Steph, but it wouldn't be by a lot. Kyrie's not as flashy as Steph, but I mean, the way the dude plays, man, and I think he's a little bit better defender than Steph Curry too. And like I said, that's just my opinion. But like I said, I would take Steph first, but Kyrie would be just a hair behind him, in my opinion.
I would agree with that. And the point that you just stated, his defense, I don't think he's a little bit better. I think he's much better than Steph Curry defensively. I mean, you saw that, like you said, last year when they played the Golden State Warriors. I mean, Kyrie Irving basically shut him down until he got injured. And not only that, I think Kyrie Irving is more of a pure point guard. I mean, he's looking to pass. He's looking to get his team more involved. Steph Curry, he'll take a shot if he's open. I mean, he's supposed to, but I mean, I think that's what he's mainly trying to do, is score first. And rather than Kyrie Irving, he's looking to pass.
Yeah. And plus, Kyrie, he's more of the traditional point guard where he's playing in the half court. Like I said, he's trying to get his guys involved. I mean, when you got LeBron on the wing and you got Kevin Love down low, and then you got your shooters whenever guys like Iman Shumpert and J.R. Smith, whenever they're open and they're hitting. I mean, the point guard does what he's supposed to do. He distributes to those guys. But at the same token, Kyrie doesn't do it all the time. But Kyrie can also. I mean, he had a couple 40-point games last season, and I mean, the dude can score. Not like Steph, but the dude can score.
Yeah.
So moving on from that, we're still going to stay with the basketball theme. And Vaughn, I know you don't like it when people do stuff like this, but I'm going to talk about LeBron James for a minute. And if you were to put LeBron James in the 90s with the different play where it was more physical and stuff like that, how do you think LeBron would rank in those 90s teams playing in the 90s? Now here's the deal. Before I say that, these are some of the forwards which LeBron would be playing. These are some of the forwards that LeBron would have to basically handle during the 90s that he'd be playing with. Guys like Dominique Wilkins, Vin Baker, even though he was kind of a center, he was still primarily a forward. Glenn Rice, Derek Coleman, Chris Mullin, Grant Hill, Penny Hardaway, even though he was basically a guard, he also did play forward for a little bit. Dennis Rodman, Sean Kemp, Clyde Drexler, Charles Barkley, Scottie Pippen, Karl Malone, Horace Grant, and Larry Bird. So in that bunch, where does LeBron James fit in your opinion, Von?
Like we talked about off air, I really don't like when people try to take a player and put him in another era, because if he played in that era, he would adapt to that era. Are you telling me, are you physically taking this person in a time machine and moving him back to the 90s? Is that what you're asking me? Is rank him there, or rank him how he would play if he grew up in that era? Because if he grew up in that era, he would be like those other dominant forwards that were in the league. He wouldn't be the player he is now because the league is different. So when you ask that question, you have to think, okay, well, if he's playing in the 90s, is he playing like the current LeBron, or is he playing like those guys are playing? Would his skill set fit during that time? And if you ask me if his skill set would fit back then, I think it would, because the guy, physically, he's big enough, he's strong enough, he's fast enough, he's athletic enough to hang with all of them. Now, mentally, is his mindset as strong as theirs were? Could he bang with Barkley? Could he play with Sean Kemp? Could he hold some of those guys? The player he is now, I don't think he could keep up with that generation then. But if you say he grew up then and played during those times, then I think he would be named with those guys. Karl Malone, all the great power forwards, then Clyde Drexler, all those guys.
I don't know. To me, and do you have anything you want to?
Or I could be reading into it too much, but
well, that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, I understand where Vaughn's coming from. How it's kind of hard to take a player now and move him back then to see how he'd do. But if you were to actually move him with the skill set that he has now and put him back then, I mean, he's big enough and he's strong enough. But the type of game he has now, I don't think he could do. I don't think he could do any better than what he's. I don't think he'd be the player he is today. Because I think back then, if you took it to the hole and you were dunking on people, they weren't going to let you do that more than one time.
Right.
They were going to beat you up. You came down
unless you were Sean Kemp.
Unless you're
and Gary Payton.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. You had to have a Gary Payton to get you the ball in that situation. Kind of like Amari Stoudemire and Steve Nash. You know.
Now, if he had a John Stockton point guard with him,
like a Karl Malone,
oh, most definitely, I think he'd do it. And I'm not a LeBron fan. I can't even stand people bringing his name up because I get tired. Ever since the decision, I have been anti-LeBron, but I do respect his game. But if he has a solid point guard, a B.J. Armstrong, or I don't know, name any other guys that made their big man look good and put him in the right spots during the pick and roll, he could definitely play back then.
I mean, I see where you're going. To me, this is just my opinion. This is Woody. This is my opinion. I believe he would. Excuse me. I think he'd be as good as, if not just slightly better than Karl Malone. That's what I believe. I don't think he would be considered.
He wouldn't be the king.
Right. I don't think so. No. But I think he would be right up there with Karl Malone.
He'd be Lion-O. He'd be a Thundercat. That'd be his nickname.
Okay. Well, how would you think he'd fare mentally? You know how mentally, if he was getting beat up all the time, if he was losing all the time. I mean, that's my question. Is that back then you had to have that mentality, like, you know, I got beat by these dudes. I'm getting beat up by these. I got to come back at these dudes.
It's no different than Jordan in the Jordan rules. When the Pistons beat him up in the playoffs, he came back stronger.
But that's Michael Jordan, though. In my opinion, this is just my opinion. The only person that I think is close being mentally strong as Michael Jordan is Kobe Bryant. I don't think LeBron would take that as, you know, I'm gonna show you that I'm gonna beat you, you know, because I mean, you look at it right now.
He'd be looking at who's gonna join up with to help him win.
Right. I mean, but back then you couldn't do that. Back then, when you were on a team, you were on a team for years. It wasn't a 1 or 2 year deal here. There was no max contracts. It was totally different than it is now. So where would LeBron fit into that scheme? You know, he would have to be fortunate enough to be on a team who drafted well and was able to get pieces around him for it to actually work.
Well, he would be like a lot of the guys that were good back then, like Barkley and Karl Malone, but they never could quite get over the hump.
Right. Well, Barkley, I mean, his best team. I don't think we would disagree. His best team was when he was playing on those early Suns teams in the early. I would say the Suns teams of the early '90s. I mean, when he was with the Rockets, he was kind of on his way out. But when Barkley was in his prime, it was when he with the Suns team. I mean, they went to the finals and lost to Michael Jordan. But I think that was Barkley's best chance. But that team with Kevin Johnson, with some of the guys he had, with the Oliver Millers, with Richard Dumas, Dan Marley. I mean,
Thunder Dan.
That team there. That was Barkley's greatest chance at winning, besides with the Rockets. But like I said, on that time he was a little bit over the hill. So maybe that contributed to it. But that's just what I believe about that. Another thing I want to speak on. I know I keep harping on it, but Kobe Bryant, man, Kobe Bryant.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm about to talk about Kobe again, man.
I'm getting sick of Kobe.
Here's the deal.
Kobe talking.
Here's the deal, man, about Kobe Bryant. I mean, right now, I know everybody's giving him this love because he's out the door, and it's kind of like his last hurrah. You don't have to face this dude no more, man. So that's kind of what he's not a problem to anybody no more. So everybody's kind of throwing him out. But the thing about Kobe Bryant.
Wait. Let's rewind a little bit.
Go ahead.
I'll let you finish your tribute, your ode to Kobe.
Hey, Kobe many more.
Nobody has worried about Kobe for the past 3 seasons. It's not like he's been really relevant because he hasn't played.
Okay.
So I honestly think nobody's even thought about it. That's why if you look at all the ESPN rankings that came out right when he started getting hurt, he was how far down on the list?
Well, but
so he really hasn't. Nobody's really worried about him. I think now that people see that his time is actually done, he's called it a career, he's on his way out, they do like we all do. We look back, we take the animosity, the hate, and we push it to the side, and we look at that player for what that player did and what that player contributed to the game.
So you're saying Kobe is like when Mike left the Bulls and he was with the Wizards. This is kind of how Kobe is right now, where he's the friendlier Kobe Bryant. He's a more approachable Kobe Bryant.
Think about it. His team, he's smiling and he's clapping. Yeah. He's congratulating his teammates.
Yeah.
When's the last time you seen that?
Well, I mean, besides the championships, it's been a minute. But I mean, it's not totally Kobe's fault, man. Like injuries, no one can prevent injuries. I mean,
nobody can predict that coming.
Right, they just happen. And I know the Lakers, they tried to build something when they brought in Steve Nash, when they brought in Dwight Howard, but I mean, I don't know if anybody's seen Dwight Howard basically since he left Orlando, but Dwight Howard is not what he was.
I honestly can relate to Dwight Howard.
Well, yeah.
The injury he had, I had the same injury. His back, I don't care what he says, his back is not 100%.
Yeah.
His back will never be 100%.
Yeah.
Especially lower back, herniated, bulging disc, it doesn't get any better. They may shave it down, they may do some other stuff to relieve the pain, but it's always going to be there. So that's why he's not the Dwight that he was with Orlando prior to the injury.
So you say the Dwight Howard that won the dunk contest, that Dwight, the defensive player of the year, that Dwight is gone, and
that Dwight is
forever,
gone.
huh?
I think if they change it a little bit, because if you look at when he was on Orlando, that offense flowed through him. I mean, they got players that were actually shooters that they surrounded him with. They built that team around him. Right now, he's just kind of there, and it's James Harden's team, so he just kind of picking up what he can get from.
I forgot who it was, but somebody said that when you watch the Rockets and I think it was Stephen A. Smith. When you watch Houston and you see Dwight, you don't see a superstar. You don't even see a star. You see a role player.
Yeah,
you see another guy on the team.
Yep.
When you see the Rockets, you see James Harden.
Right.
You see Patrick Beverly.
Yeah.
Trevor Ariza.
Yeah.
And then there's Dwight.
Yeah.
He's an afterthought now.
But I think they're utilizing him wrong, though. I don't think he'll be the same Dwight Howard like he was, like you said, because of the injury in his back. But I think if they use him in the post a little bit, I think he can still be better than what he is now.
Kevin Garnett is better than Kevin Durant right now.
Dwight Howard, man, that's saying a lot right there, man. That's saying a lot. Old Kevin.
And KG's probably about 20-something years older than KG.
Yeah, that's
he's not backing down. He's coming at you.
Yeah, but also on the whole Kobe thing, man. I believe this is the one thing that Kobe Bryant, if they utilize Kobe right. The Lakers, I'm not saying the Lakers are going to the playoffs. I'm not saying, because here's the deal. Whether Kobe's on that team or not, that Laker team is bad enough. They're not going to win games just because, I mean, D'Angelo Russell and Julius Randle, both of them guys, D'Angelo's 19, Julius is 21. I mean, when he came into the league, he was 19. And I know he went to college for a year, and both him and D'Angelo went to college for a year, but they were coming out at 19 years old. LeBron James didn't go to college, and he came into the league at 19 years old. Kobe Bryant came into the league at 17 years old. So this college one and done rule is ridiculous, man. But the Lakers are so young and they don't have anybody else really. The other pieces that they have don't really fit together. The coaching that Byron Scott is doing is horrendous in my opinion. So regardless if Kobe was there or not, they're not doing it. So it's almost like just let Kobe do whatever he wants to do because they ain't gonna win anyway.
I just think the whole Lakers organization has been making bad decisions. It's not just the
Oh,
coaching.
yeah.
It's the players that they've been picking up. It's the coaching before Byron Scott. It's everything.
Oh, there's a few organizations that are doing it. My Nuggets are one of them, but they're starting to come on the upswing. I think they got some talent, some youth with Moutier and Nerd. I can't pronounce his name. He's a European player. Anyway, since you brought up I'm gonna go back. You brought up the college one and done. Mm-hmm. Do you think that that men's college basketball should institute something like the NCAA with men's football does and have at least a 2-year, 3-year stint in college before you come to the pros?
Well, but see, that's the thing with football. It's so hard because
I know because of physicality, but
right.
Even then, when you look at guys that come straight out of high school, Kwame Brown, a few other guys,
yeah, physically
they weren't ready.
Right, and definitely mentally they weren't.
Mentally they weren't ready for the game. So should there be some kind of a lengthier period? Because I definitely think it'll be better for college basketball.
Oh yeah.
Because if you think about it, Kentucky, if they had the same guys from last season, Karl Anthony Towns and the rest of the guys,
the year before that too,
they would be dominant.
Oh yeah, they'd be undefeated. I mean,
you're talking about an undefeated national champion.
Yeah.
If Kentucky keeps those players.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I believe so. And like I said, if they would have been able to get some and kick some of the guys from the year before, they would probably go 2 years undefeated national champions. You know, I don't think Duke would have won. I mean, it is what it is. But I think that the Kentucky team has so much talent that. But I mean, I think the AAU is what's killing the whole thing because these guys are being scouted so early in AAU ball that they're being told when they're in the 8th grade, when they're in the 7th grade, that you're going pro. You know, that's what these guys are. I mean, guys are coming over to the States. You know, was Ben Simmons, an Australian kid. He came over to the States because he knew this was the pipeline to go to the league. That's really all he's doing right now. He's looking to play basketball for one season and he's going pro.
Did Dante Exum play college ball?
Nope.
I don't think Dante did. He played for like the national team in Australia.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I kind of think maybe that's what should happen. If you implement maybe a 2-year college term, a lot of these kids will play those 2 years. Mm-hmm. I doubt very few of them would take the route that Emmanuel Moutier chose to do and go play pro overseas.
Right.
Because a lot of them don't want to leave home. They don't want to leave home.
Right. Well, but he, I mean, Moutier, I mean, even though he was from Texas, he was from the Congo, so he was already away from quote unquote home. So
but that's what I'm saying. A lot of these guys, the homegrown talent, the American talent, I doubt that a whole lot of them would want to go and play over in Europe.
Yeah.
I just don't see that happening.
Yeah. No, I definitely hear you. But I do believe that there should be something done with these players because these guys got to come in a little bit more mature. I mean, because like I said, you think about it, like with the Lakers, you know, I know I keep bringing them up, but with the Lakers, you got basically a 19-year-old kid and a 21-year-old kid, and Clarkson's like what, 22, 23. I mean, those are the guys that you're saying, hey, you guys are going to be the ones who's going to lead this franchise into the promised land again, bring them back to respectability. And these are kids, you know. These are kids. Like I said before, I mean, and even you guys know how it is. Just working with kids, 19, 20, 21, 23 years old.
Stupid.
Not only stupid, but they're just not mentally prepared for this. And in the pros, the pressure is so much for them to win. I mean, imagine at 19 years old if your first day on the job, every day on the job was in front of thousands of people, where you got booed, you got cheered, you got talked about, and then if you had a bad day at work, you had to answer. Someone had to come to you and give you an interview and say, well, Aunt, you know, why'd you mess up the paperwork today? Or how come you were 5 minutes late on your lunch? Or, you know, I mean, that's a lot for anyone to deal with. Definitely a 19, 20, 21-year-old, you know. So maybe they should become men before they actually play in a men's league. You know, because most of these guys, after about 5-6 years, really start to pan out and really start to be who they are.
But you know, that's a good point. Because I remember hearing that, like, with Porzingis, a lot of talk was, well, once he grows into his frame,
right?
And that's what they say about a lot of these young guys. Once they grow into their frame and they put on some more bulk, they can compete with these guys. Well, let them play a couple years in college. Let them put that bulk on. Let them develop there, and then come to the league. But I think it's more of the NBA. I don't think the NBA wants. I honestly don't even think they want the 1 year college rule.
Yeah.
They'd rather them come straight into the league, but they try to cover it up by doing the 1 year thing because it's better for the NBA to see young talent. They want to see young people. I've heard when they discuss certain college players, I can't remember guys off the top of my head, but guys who did 4 years in college, they're looked at as being old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like teams don't want them because they played too many years of college basketball.
Why did you come out of your freshman season? Why did you come out of your sophomore year?
It's like the league wants them to come out early. They don't want them to do their junior year, their senior year. They want them after their freshman year.
Right. Well, the business side of it, you get a longer shelf life if you can minus those 3 or 4 years in college. You know, that's more years you get to have this guy on your team if he decides to stick around. You know, so that's what a lot of these NBA guys are doing. They're trying to get these guys where they're very young and they're trying to use. I mean, I think you're going to start seeing more guys playing 20 years like you see with Kobe Bryant and like playing longer like Tim Duncan and some of these guys. I think that's going to be the norm. You know, I know back in the day, guys played 10 years, 12 years, 15 years. Like, if you were in the league at that about 16 years, you was considered like, wow, man, this dude still got it after 16 years, you know. But you add on that 3 or 4 years of college, that's 20 years too. You know, but now with these guys, like even like Kevin Garnett, you know, guys that didn't go to college, they're playing 20 years, but that's a straight 20 years in the pros compared to 16, 17 years in the pros plus 3 or 4 years in college. But like I said, it's all about shelf life for these guys, man. And if these dudes in the NBA could sign a guy, if they did a physical standard and said, well, if you're I don't care if you're in 8th grade, if you're 7 foot, 260 pounds, you can go pro. Guys would do that. I'm just saying the NBA would do that. They would care less that the dude can't even drive or he can't, you know, he doesn't have facial hair. They could care less about that.
Yeah.
You know, but whatever happens, man, there needs to be a change.
Real quick, I know we talked about this earlier, but I don't know if you've seen it, but I want you the next time we come back and do the show to look up the clip of the 2 7'6", 7'7" African centers that I can't remember what colleges they play for, but I watched them on the highlight of Sports Center, and when I watched them, they matched up well. They're both about the same size, but they look like 2 little baby deer that just came out the room, and they're clumsy and uncoordinated and awkward. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
If I go to look at even a college basketball game, I don't want to see 2 clumsy, uncoordinated, tall, dangly, langly ass people.
Yeah, man, I hear you, man. I totally agree with that, man. Yeah, well, right about now, we got a special phone interview, special phone guest. My man, Joe Tarkman, man, holding it down from California. You know, one of the last Orlando Magic fans that in existence. You know, about 6 of them. He's one of them. Also, he's a Dallas Cowboys fan. You know, so right now, Joe, we want to talk to you. We want to ask you some questions, man. I know you're over there in Warriors country, man. So let us know what it's like, what the vibe is where you're at, man, about the Warriors.
All right, so before we get into all that nonsense, I want to say thanks for having me on, and congrats on the show. You guys are doing great things over there. I appreciate it.
We appreciate it, man.
I'm like itching to like talk to both of you at the same time to tell you how crazy you are, but that's the whole point, I guess. So I just wanted to get that out there. So the Warriors Nation out here is crazy. Dub Nation also, I think, is a bunch of garbage, really. They're obviously amazing, and you know they're undefeated, and I can't really say anything bad about them. But I'll just say I don't watch their games because everybody acts like they're like the greatest team of all time, and now all of a sudden when they hit the road, you know, when the Warriors are in Brooklyn, there's all kinds of Warriors fans in Brooklyn, which is crazy.
Right.
I've never seen anything like that. Right. I don't know about you guys, but I've never seen. You know, anybody proud to be no Warriors fan.
Yeah, man. I do remember seeing some Gilbert Arenas jerseys and some Jason Richardson jerseys, but that was just because it was a style, man. It wasn't because they liked the team, you know. So, yeah, I hear what you mean.
Right. That's because Gilbert Arenas was a crazy person, and Jason Richardson, you know, won the dunk contest and all that stuff.
Right.
But, I mean, the Dub Nation, it's crazy out here. You know, they've sold out a million games in a row. I mean, they're fun to watch. They got, you know, a bunch of good players on their team. Obviously, Steph Curry is amazing, but I don't want to hear all this nonsense about him being the best player in the league, because it's not even close. To me, still, LeBron is the best player in the league. Steph Curry doesn't guard anybody on defense.
Okay.
That Brooklyn game I was talking about, he was guarding Bogdanovich the whole game. And if you guys don't know what that is, nobody else does either. That was his defensive assignment. So all this talk about him being the best player in the league and all that, he might be the best shooter in the league. Well, he is the best shooter in the league, but best player, no sir.
Okay, Joe. So do you think that Steph Curry, would his defense be on the same level as James Harden?
No, he's probably a step above James Harden. James Harden doesn't even. Remember how people used to clown on Vince Carter and talk about how Vince Carter played that Ole defense?
Yeah, just let him run past.
James Harden does the same thing, right?
Yeah.
All this, it sucks for him too, because now they're talking about all this stuff about he's a malcontent and his teammates don't like playing with him, and kind of the same stuff they say about Carmelo, how he dominates the ball 90% of the time, and his teammates just stand there and look at him and wait for him to do something, really.
Right.
And then he turns around and he doesn't play defense. So I don't ever think Houston. I just saw a game the other day. Dwight Howard had 10 points and like 10 rebounds in a game. That's crazy. I know he's falling off a little bit, but he should be doing better than that. But I don't blame him because he doesn't ever get the ball.
Yeah.
Curry has to play a little more defense than that, because kind of by default, there's 20 good point guards in the league and there's 5 good 2 guards in the league. Like, they can't hide Steph every night, because every night there's some other team with a point guard that he has to at least attempt to guard.
Right. Now here's the deal, Joe. This is what I want to talk about, because a lot of people probably don't know, man. The ones that know, like Joe was one of the guys that I would always go to, man. That we would discuss, because Joe knew. I mean, I knew a lot about basketball, but Joe was probably the one guy that knew a lot more than me, and knew a lot of players that I had no clue about. So let us know what your prediction is in the in the league right now. When do you think the Warriors are going to lose? Who do you think is going to the finals? I mean, let us know. Give us some of your insight on the league right now. Like, what do you think's going on, man? What do you think's going to happen?
Well, I don't want to say no conspiracy, but it's kind of interesting that the Christmas Day game would be the Warriors' 34th game of the season, and if they're undefeated, it'd be 34-0. And that's the most consecutive. Like, that's crazy to me. But I don't know, man. Obviously, nobody can beat them. You got to say they're number 1 right now. I mean, I'm still waiting for them to play. They haven't played the Spurs yet.
Right.
But everybody's waiting for that.
Yeah, don't play Spurs till January.
They haven't played OKC yet. So I'd like to think OKC could beat them, but I mean, nobody's proven how to do it yet. They try to rough up Steph Curry, and then Klay Thompson goes for 39 and hits 10 threes in the game. And I mean, it's really, I don't know. They couldn't even make it Andrew Bogus look like he's a real NBA player. And he's not, but good for them. So you got to say them out of the West, man. I mean, I'd like to hate on them or whatever, but I really just can't. I mean, they're just that good.
Now, on First Take, they were saying that the only way that you could beat the Warriors is to make them play big, and that San Antonio was the only team that could force them to play big. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, they can force them to play big, plus they can match their outside shooting, which is, I mean, nobody else in the league can do that. Everybody. There's teams that can hit as many threes, but they have to be street. Houston can do that, but percentage-wise, efficiency-wise, Houston has to take 50 threes a game in order to keep up with Golden State. But San Antonio still, they talk about the Warriors ball movement and all that. San Antonio still leads the league in ball movement and passes per game and passes per possession and all this stuff. And they got shooters, and they got probably the best defensive player in the league. I know when I watch a game, I'm excited to see Kawhi Leonard like one-on-one with Steph Curry. I hope he guards him the whole game, because that would be really nice to watch.
That'd be his test, huh?
Yeah. And so it's either them two. For me, it's the Spurs or the Warriors out of the West. And then the East, I mean, I just read tonight that Charlotte is number 2 in the East. So I'm pretty sure Cleveland can halfway all the way to the first spot in the East and still make the finals.
Oh, man.
It's probably going to be a rematch in the finals, and hopefully, if Kyrie comes back, Cleveland can beat the Warriors so that people can stop talking on the best team of the world. So.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Switching gears to the NFL. I know, Joe. I mean, I know you from that area, man. Merced and all that around where Fresno State and all that is, the Vallejo area, and watching Derek Carr, the way he's playing right now with the Raiders. Watching Derek Carr in college, did you think that he would be the player that he is right now in the pros? Did you see that from him, or did you think he would be?
It depends on what you value, really. I mean, the kid has, you talk about all the measurable stuff. He has arm strength. He has, he can run. He's tall. He's tough. He kind of, you don't really know when you're at Fresno State. I mean, there's a bunch of knuckleheads at that school, but you don't know what kind of leader he's going to be and stuff. But for me, the most important thing for an NFL quarterback, as long as he's smart, is that quick release, man.
Right.
And I'm kind of biased, obviously, but I think that's the reason that Tony Romo's been in the league as long as he has, because he has like the quickest release in NFL history. So, because obviously he's proven Romo, if he has to stand there, he stinks. So, the faster he gets rid of the ball, the better, And I think, especially the way the league's going now, where it's all three-step drops and they're playing out of the shotgun and they're throwing, 17 slants a game. Like for me, Derek Carr, it's perfectly in the way the league is set up right now.
Yeah.
Now, if he's going to be like a Big Ben or something, somebody, or Tom Brady or Peyton Manning would just stand there and no, he's never going to do that.
Right.
If he's in an offense like the Raiders have now, where he can get the ball out quick, to playmakers, you see the Raiders just re-upped Michael Crabtree tonight for like 50-something mil. So they're trying to keep weapons around him. It just depends. I mean, for the last 20 years, the Raiders have been the worst organization in pro sports. So, worst ran organization in pro sports. It's not the players' fault, but that's the organization's fault.
Right.
And I think he's going to be a good quarterback. And I actually just got in an argument with the dude that's a Niners fan the other day, and he was hating on him. I was trying to tell him, man, this kid can play. I don't understand what the negativity is about. He can do everything.
Right.
What can he do? He's not Cam, obviously. He's not 6'5", 260 and running dudes over, but he's a good NFL quarterback.
Right. I hear you. And Joe, real quick before we let you go, man, I got a question. I know you saw your Cowboys win on Monday night, man, and they're just crazily they're only one game back.
I distinctly remember that Mr. Walker there said they were going to lose that game.
Yes, I did. That was out of pure hate. They won. Who cares? Get over it. Let's answer the question.
But the question is, what do you think the Cowboys' chances are in winning the division? And do you think if Romo comes back, do you give the Cowboys a chance to do something in the playoffs?
He ain't coming back.
He may.
He ain't coming back.
When he hurt his shoulder again, and that night, my favorite person on earth, Jerry Jones, said that we're not going to put Tony on the IR because we still have a chance to make the playoffs. I was like, man, somebody get this dude out of there. Now he's going senile. He's crazy. He's always talking. I don't know why he's always doing pressures and stuff. He's always getting close to me. I don't understand. But as far as winning the division, the fan in me said, yeah, they have a chance because they still have to play Washington. Like at the end of the season, the last game is versus Washington,
right?
Which could mean something. But then that same week, the Giants play the Eagles, and that could mean something. So, yeah, they got a chance, but do I think they're going to do it? No, they probably won't do it. Because no offense, but Matt Castle is not starting NFL quarterback. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, you with the way that division is, man, you never know, man. You never know how things are going to play out. But Von, did you have anything you wanna?
Oh no, we're good. We've had enough.
Oh, he does.
No, he's good. I agree with about 90% of everything you said. He's on point with everything.
Yeah,
thank you.
Well, Joe, man, it was a pleasure, man. We appreciate you calling in, man, being our special guest interview for the night, man. Like I said, man, anytime you need to call in and holler at us, man, if you disagree with stuff we say or you just want to throw your own knowledge, man, feel free anytime.
I disagree with.
What that
talking about just real quick, the NBA thing with the 10 up, man, I was going crazy.
Well, man,
for another episode.
Well, yeah, man. You know what? If you ever come out here, man, we need to get you in here, man, with us so you can do a show with us, man.
I would gladly do that.
Yeah, man. We appreciate it, Joe, man. Appreciate you stopping through for a minute and chatting with us, man.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on, and God bless you guys, man.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Bye.
All right, bye. Okay, so it looks like we're coming to an end of another show. You know, we appreciate our guest tonight. You know, a lot of NBA talk that was good to do. You know, talking about the Warriors and everything else. But hopefully, maybe we said something that maybe y'all agree with, didn't agree with, whatever. Like I said, y'all can hit us up, talk to us, hit us up on YouTube. Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud, whatever. Any way y'all can hit us up. If y'all have our numbers, y'all can hit us up that way too. But another real quick before we go. I want to talk about, you know, I'm a huge Quentin Tarantino fan, and anybody who also is a Tarantino fan like me understands and knows that this movie's coming out at the end of the year, the Hateful Eight. They haven't really been showing too much about it, but I think, you know, you can't go wrong with Tarantino movies in my opinion. So I think it's gonna be a good. It's got Samuel L. It's got a bunch of his old people that he usually has in his movies are all gonna be there, man. And the story that they were talking about is kind of a little secretive story. They got a guy in there or a girl in there. The hangman's going to Kurt Russell, who's going to take to prison or kill him. But anyways, I think it's going to be a great movie. A lot of blood, a lot of guts, a lot of everything, man. And I can't wait to see it. It's supposed to come out on Christmas Day, I think, to a limited release and then mass release on January 8th. So if you're looking for a movie to go see on Christmas, if you don't, I mean, it's not a family movie, but if you want to go check out something by yourself, man, go check out The Hateful Eight. I think it's gonna be a great movie. I don't think you'll be disappointed. But that's all I'm gonna say about that. You guys got any last things you want to say? Any shout outs you want to say? Anything?
No, I don't have much of anything now. Thank you again for checking the show out. We'll catch you next week.
And thank you all for listening. And signing out.
All right. Once again, Just Us Show. We appreciate it. No rules, no regulations. It's just us. We out. Peace.